Bedrock is an online program with Michael Farinloye, your engineer on radio. And on this program, engineer Michael Farinloye, your engineer on radio, and other building professionals will come together to provide solutions to issues that are related to construction, engineering, real estate, security, and built environment in general, with the intention of some people live and work in a safe, conducive, and comfortable environment. Join us on Facebook Live every Friday by 4 p.m. on the Bedrock with Michael Farinloye Facebook page. For sponsorship and adverts or inquiries, please call 070 31 37 37 69. Once again, 070 31 37 37 69. The Bedrock on Facebook Live. Join us now and learn from building professionals.
Oh, what a beautiful moment again on another fresh edition of the Bedrock with Michael Farinloye. I thank our viewers for joining us again, and I'm glad to inform you that I have my first female guest on my program today. What a very great success on this program, having a first female guest. It will be in record today that today was my first day I'm having a female guest. Yes. I remain my humble self, Michael Omowale Farinloye, also known as your engineer on radio. Today, my guest is a civil and a structural engineer, because what we want to discuss today is what have to do with structural, structural detailing of the building. So talking about structural design. What is the necessity of structural design? We'll be talking about that. We'll be discussing that with my guests for today, my first female guest on this program. Like I said, he's a civil, he's a structural engineer. He specializes in structural design and supervision of building projects. He works with David Dad Engineering Nigeria Limited, and he's also the CEO, Summit Tech Engineering Consult Limited. I'm currently the Financial Secretary of Nigerian Society of Engineers, that is NSC, Osogbo branch. And she is also a member of Association of Professional Women Engineers, currently the internal auditor of Osogbo chapter. She is also a member of Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, that's NICE. Nice. Can you see that I have a competent guest in the house? It's not just a female. It's not just a female alone. She's a competent to the call. It's somebody I know very well. You know, I won't bring somebody who is not up to the task on this podcast. Okay, let me say this. Before I really move on with my guest, let me say this for those who are joining this podcast for the first time, the Bedrock with Michael Farinloye. It comes up every Friday like this, 4 p.m. West African time, where we discuss issues that are related to built environments, talking about building, construction, real estate, engineering and services, security, and so on and so forth. How can we create a conducive environment for ourselves from the natural environment given by God? That is what we call built environment. And that's the reason for this program. And we also educate our people how they can live and work in a safe, conducive, and comfortable environment. And notwithstanding, we also keep you people up with current trends and business opportunities in the built environment sector. So you now see that you are in a very, very, very important program this very evening. So without wasting our time, my guests together will be discussing the topic I call the necessity of structural design. Engineer Fagbemi Oyejo Oluwaseun Deborah, you are welcome on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Engineer Farinloye. Nice meeting you and nice to be on this program. I want to celebrate you and I want to thank God for your life. We pray for more of it in Jesus' name, more grace to continue And to everyone, our viewers in the house, I want to say good evening to every one of you. Thanks for being part of this program. We pray the Lord be with you. Thank you so much.
Amen. I forgot to tell our viewers one more thing about my guest. She's also a pastor. So, yeah, over to our discussion, the necessity of structural design. So let's start with this, because like I said before we commence this very podcast, it is very, very, very important we educate not the professionals this time around. Professionals will know what it takes. Professional knows what structural design really means. But it's very unfortunate that although we have some clients that we allow a professional to do his or her work as it is, it should be. But it's very unfortunate that we have some clients, they will always want to drill a professional. Why, like I told my guest before we commence this podcast, that I have a client recently. He was asking me, this design that you have done, is it not too much? Is those irons that are inside all these what you call your columns and your footings, is it not too much? And so on and so forth. So we need to get to understand the reason why we are doing the design, the reason why structural design is very necessary. Like engineer Yenuga, I put him in one of his we call it Yenuga. That's design of concrete.
Reinforced concrete
Reinforced concrete
Reinforced
design.
concrete design.
Yes, thank you. Reinforced concrete design. Many of us who are civil and structural engineering in Nigeria, we know about. We hardly don't pass through this very textbook as far as Nigeria is concerned. And I'm glad to also say that he's a lover of this program, the Bedrock with MICHEAL Farinloye. He's always there. Anytime I get in touch with Baba, he's always there. He has watched almost all our episodes, even live at times. So I quote him. He said, after one suspended floor, we should frame that structure. Engineer,
Yes,
am I saying what Engineer Uniga said?
You are on the track. Once you're having more than a suspended floor,
like 2,
4 or 5 suspended floors,
4,
do a frame structure.
Frame.
Yes,
And
should have a frame structure.
It must be a frame structure. And when you are framing, you cannot just put your columns, beams, slab without a design. So that's
we have to do.
So this that I've just done is just a little introduction. So my guest, I will be handing over to my guest. Okay, the first question I want to ask, Ma, when you're talking about structural design, especially for the sake of the non-professionals and the laymen that are watching us right now, what do we really mean? What is structural design? Let's start from there.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's start by defining structural design. Like you have rightly said, you know, most of us, even in the built environment, we have a lot of people we are working with. They cannot differentiate between architectural drawing and structural drawing. And when we are talking about structural drawing, it is turning architectural drawing into reality. Architectural drawing cannot work alone. It is when a structural engineer work on architectural drawing that will now bring out the beauty of architectural drawing. So we can define structural drawing as the art of turning architect ideas into reality. That is just the simple definition. Then we can call it structural engineers is a branch of civil engineering. Civil engineering is the broad name that we can give to an engineer when we are working in a built environment as a civil engineer. But when it comes to structural engineering, all civil engineers cannot be a structural engineer. As a structural engineer, out of 100 civil engineers, we can have just 3 structural engineers. Even though all the civil engineers, they can interpret the drawing, but they might not be able to produce the structural drawing. So we are few in that field. So structural drawing is that aspect of calculating the different load requirements to get into various structure and design to withstand the worst case scenario. In structural engineering, we design at a worst case scenario. What do I mean by a worst case? When you are to do your design, you don't take it from where the structure is safe. Where you think is the worst, where the problem can arise, that is where the structural engineers will take their design. Let's take, for instance, I want to design just a 2-story building. If we get to site, like the normal civil engineers will do, we start our work from foundation. You start from foundation, you start from your excavation and all sorts of things. But when you get to design office, as a structural engineer, you have to start your load calculation from the roof.
Up. I love
and
that.
When you get to site, it's a different thing.
I love that.
So now, if you are a civil engineer and you have not been to design office, you might not even understand what we are saying. Now we are in the built environment together. We are civil engineers together. But you are not a structural engineer. You don't know that you have to transfer your load from the roof to the foundation. If you are starting from the roof to the column, to your beam, to your slab, before you now get back to the foundation. Can we just see the difference? Now I'm a civil engineer. Everybody can be civil engineer in the built environment.
A geotechnical engineer is also a civil engineer.
That's why I say civil engineering encompasses all the engineering aspects. But when it now comes to structure, we have specialized people. Now I'm one of them. So what we deal with is calculating of different load that will make up what we call a structural design. So it is turning architectural drawing into reality. We want to bring out the beauty of architectural drawing, because you see some people, when they have architectural drawing, they say they are okay. Even the architect, they know that without the structural drawing, if you are a good architect, they cannot even proceed with the work. The architect are our friend. They are the one giving us job. This is what to do. Even when we get to site,
they are the one with the
work
vision
together. Yes, they are the visionaire. They'll be the one to bring it, even if it's a 10-story building. They don't know what they want to do.
I want
structural engineer that will work with them, that will turn it to reality.
In short,
thank you, sir.
I love the way you have put it. I so much love it. Recently, a bricklayer, you know, we are all important in built environment. There's no doubt about that.
Exactly.
A bricklayer was arguing with some professionals. Let me put it that way. Recently, is a frame structure. So there is a structural design for it already, and that's one of the problems clients usually have. They are on site, they have commenced the work, but it is bricklayer that is handling it. You know what the bricklayer did? He just packed the structural. He have the structural design with him. He have the architectural design with him, but he just packed the structural design inside his vehicle. Anytime he gets to site, he brings out the architectural design. So he's the one now. He's not the one determining where he's going to have his trenches and the rest like that. So I have to come in and let you know when you are doing your foundation, the structural design supersede the architectural design, especially in frame structure where you have your structural design. And I love one of the statements you made again, which I also discussed it with somebody recently, and I'm very happy. It's likely that particular person might be watching us now. I said all the load is from up.
Yes,
start calculating the load from
the roof.
From the roof. The final, which is the final element, down to the foundation.
To the foundation.
Down the foundation. So what brought this was that he was talking about the foundation, and I said foundation is the last thing, because all the loading will come from up.
Everything is coming down.
It's until you do all the loading from up that you determine how the foundation will look like. So I so much love the way you put it again, that is an interpretation of how the architectural drawing can be put into reality. I love that.
Yes, sir.
I love that. Okay, how do I put it? A for you there. I give you A.
Thank you, sir.
So, because sincerely speaking, you have to speak their language. Like I said, this is not for the professionals alone. In
Yes,
short,
so
what we are
yes,
discussing, so many professionals knows about it. In short, some mechanical and electrical, even the PS can tell you how necessary a structural design is.
structural design.
You understand? But a layman, especially our clients, who will fight to a large extent on decision that he is not going to do a structural design. You understand?
Exactly.
That's the reason and the purpose why this very episode is coming up. So, okay, let's go to why we need structural design. Why do we need structural design?
Well, thank you so much, sir. I think why we need it, we can talk about the necessity of structural design.
Yes.
The reason why we need it, I can categorize it like in four stages. For our structure to be safe, we need structural design. For stability, we need structural design. For stability, we need structural design. And then for strength and sustainability, for strength, because if you don't do structural design, how do you know that your structure is safe? You won't be able to determine that this structure is safe. It's not safe because a just normal layman, they will just want to go to site, dig one foundation. Maybe our design now tells us that for this two-story building to stand at the foundation, after putting your basket, your column, your starter column is 6x16.
Yes.
And a normal bricklayer will just tell you, just put four reinforcement.
That's their language, oh. 4 reinforcement.
It's not safe.
16 mm. That's their language.
They so
much love that number 4.
Exactly. They will just, we have them, Baba Sule, Baba Kimikan. They are now replacing the work of engineers.
It's very, very
when you get to site,
it's very, very unfortunate.
An engineer. Engineer, you will not even know who they are calling.
Who is the engineer?
They will just be calling engineer.
Everybody,
you don't even know.
Everybody that has a little experience on site has become engineer in Nigeria today.
So they have become engineer. They are now replacing the real engineers at site, which is not supposed to be so.
And it's a big risk. It's a big risk.
The funding problems are.
It's a big risk.
It is a big risk, and even the people, our people, the learned people.
Yes.
Do you know they are still giving work to these people?
They are not.
I want to cite an example of a doctor.
Okay.
The doctor is still saying, let's just give this thing to Baba Lagbaja. Why will engineer charge us 1 million naira? Why would they charge us 500,000 naira? And this is a learned person, a doctor, that even if you want to treat somebody, you will not even allow nurse to do some of the work. You are still the one saying, how are we going to waste 1 million naira? So at times it bothers me. It used to touch me. That how could a learned person still be saying, let's just give it to them? And when you now look, even ordinary bungalow, when you look at the work that these people are doing for them, after 1 year, you see that they are doing maintenance. They want to change this, they want to change their room. But if it is the one the engineer supervise, if it is the one that structural engineer design, there will be difference.
Yes.
There will be a lot of difference. But these people don't realize it. So that's why I categorize this thing on those 4 categories. It will be safe, for stability, for strength, and for sustainability. That is the necessity. That is the reason why we need to do our structural design before we carry out any building project, any construction work on site. It is very, very necessary that we consider this point. Thank you, sir.
For stability, for strength, and for
stability, safety, and sustainability.
Okay, safety and sustainability.
What will sustain us even in the next 100 years?
Do you know the funniest thing? Over the years I've had some beautiful experience about even a client trying to save costs. You want to be economical, or you want to be economical. You now discover that at the end of the day, he will even spend more.
More, exactly.
You know the reason why I said more.
Spend more.
In two ways, in two ways. I want you to also tell me your mind about what I'm about to say. In two ways. Number one, you might design a structure, and at the end of the day, you discover that your columns don't need more than 4x16. That is 4 reinforcements in the columns of y16. But when Baba Alagbaja will say, let's put more iron well. Let it be 6y16. That is 16 mm. At the end of the day, you have wasted 2 irons here.
Exactly. That is what we call over design in structural design.
You understand?
we are talking about adverse effect. We're still coming to that aspect. We have over design and under design. Okay. So when I design for 4y16 and Baba Tope is using 6y16, it is now over design. It is beyond what we designed.
Okay.
Which is not, we are talking about stability and sustainability.
Sustainability, yes.
How do we say that kind of structure is stable and is safe? When you just decided that, okay, it is when I let's just add reinforcement at site. At least engineer Shimboye, my boss, some of the time we just get to site. Once this iron bender sees that we have like maybe 7 meter long span, they will just tell you, before we get there, they would have introduced in-beam. One day we were like, where should you introduce in-beam? We are not the person that designed it. We have designed it, it's 7 meter. We have designed it, and this, what you put there, is going to cater for it. But they will just decided to put in-beam. And they will now put top bars, where we're supposed to put bottom bars. They will change it to top bars. They will now put in-beam. So these people, they don't have the understanding of it. And that's how they are doing it for our learned people in the town. Those that we call doctors, those that we call lawyers. That's how they are engaging them. That is not what we design for. The structure is not stable. It's not stable again, because that's not what we designed for. So that's where the problem lies. Over design and under design.
Under design. I love that. And sincerely speaking, they are just looking at the pictorial interpretation of how all the elements will be as it should be on site. But a lot of things have happened. Like you said, a lot of load has been calculated, formulas and phenomena has been incorporated to come up.
So that's when we talk about all those loads. Yes. When we were doing, if you want to do structural design, the very first thing you do is structural analysis. We used to call it structural analysis and design. It is from your analysis that you'll be able to generate your load. And when we are talking about structural design, you need to talk about your life load and your dead load. This is what you put together to get your design load. What are life load? All of like you and I now, we are part of the life load.
Yes.
The movable materials. But when we are talking about the real load, which is the dead load, you talk about the roof,
the concrete,
the slab,
the block
those things that you cannot move away from the building. They are the dead load. These our bricklayers, these people that call themselves engineers, how did they know that something is called life load? How did they do their analysis? So it is from this analysis that we get our own value. That is what we want to use to design. Because like I want to design 4-story building. The analysis that we do is different from when I want to design 2-story building.
Yes.
And design code that we are using, it is internationally recognized, like you mentioned before. Yes. Oyenuga, design of reinforced concrete by Oyenuga. Yes. Every one of us, we have little background of it. And even these days, we have a lot of software. You can use Start Pro. Exactly. You can use Orion. Exactly. After you have done your analysis to generate all yours. But these people, they don't have the knowledge of this. What did they call in post load? They don't know it. It is all these things that we are factor. In fact, when you are calculating your design load, you still remember factor of safety. Yes. Even if something is going to happen, the factor of safety will be able to cater for so many things for you to get your design load. So if I have my design load and I've designed this thing, this beam 1 is 3 + 3y16 or 3 + 4y16. Somebody is now telling me just put 10y16. because I have did my analysis correctly, and I have my design load. I have run it, whether manually or I use software to do it. I know where I'm going. So why should somebody come and tell me this is how to do it? Even the architect that gave me the job, that is the visionary, doesn't have the knowledge of it. They will just work with structural design. So it's always good for us to enlighten our people, to let them know that there is a lot of underneath work that a structural engineer will do.
And that's what we are doing right
before giving you the exactly, sir. So that is very, very paramount, and it's necessary for us to take care of those aspects so that we won't have all this building collapse every day again. It is because when you have a collapse, is either they didn't follow what the design says, or the client self is telling them, this engineer just wants to waste my money, because most of the clients, they don't have before knowledge. They just, this engineer just wants to waste my money. Even when you said, okay, this is our slab, my spacing center to center is 150, center to center. When you get to site, they can use 400 center to center, and that is not what you design for. I've designed it that, okay, panel 1, this slab or this panel is 150 center to center. Then even my column, maybe the link, I said it's 200 center to center. When you get there, they can use 700. So that is why when you now say building code, and nobody will call architects, they will talk about the structural engineer. That's the first thing. And when you get there, you will discover that they didn't follow the design. They didn't follow it. As I'm talking to you now, we have one collapse. Not we, or somebody called me. Church building. It has collapsed. When I got there, there was no foundation, no mat at all. They just dig it. I told them, bring out the structural drawing. They didn't have the structural design. The draftsman only draft something for them. They didn't approve it. And the building has gallery. Everything just come down. Now, they have to face the consequence of packing the rubble. Then we now start all over again. So they will still pay the engineer that they don't want to pay. So those are the adverse effects.
The cost they are trying to save now, they will be paying double, because the design they didn't do before, they will have to go ahead and do it now. And they have wasted a lot of resources. That's what we keep on telling them every day. Recently, or is it recently? Yes. As I tell a client, indirectly, because when I discovered that it's like he's trying to compromise, I was like, these two things, it's either you leave me, I do my work, or I leave the site, you do whatever you want to do. Although before the end of this podcast, I think we still have to encourage and to talk to our agency that are in charge of approval. Maybe they need to do necessary things as it is.
Exactly, sir.
Necessary things as it is. In short, a cousin of mine who is in one of the European countries was still discussing with me recently. It was like they do their investigation. Those who are in charge of approval, they usually come to site, do their investigation to the extent that just ordinary sockets. If you in your room, if you decide that your design is going to be in the left side and you go and drop it in the right side, you must give reason why it is that way. You understand? So I think we just have to work and sit tight and do the so because all these things, like my guests have rightly said, all these things is all about most buildings collapsing every now and then. We shouldn't have it. We don't have reason for this.
Yes.
If necessary.
Answer in addition to what I've said.
Okay.
When we were still talking about this thing, you look at it. When you say you have this structure as paid, if truly you give this work to structural engineer, if the design will fail or it will deflect, as you are doing your analysis, you are doing the design, it will definitely fade. What we normally do in design office is we design again. You know, most of the value we base it on assumption.
Yes.
Like bearing pressure, I might say my bearing capacity is 150.
Capacity, yes.
When the structure fade from the design, if in fact your calculation will tell you the deflection is not okay. The deflection is not satisfactory, that you should redesign. If you want to redesign, let's say the depth of my slab is 150. 150 mm. Now I now design it. Let's say that place fade. If I want to redesign, I will increase the depth of my slab to 175 mm or 200 mm. As I'm running it, if I use a reinforced concrete design, it will tell me if it will fade again. If it fails, you need to increase. When you increase, when you now get to site, somebody now wants to use 150. Your brain will tell you this that is what
it's going to fade. You understand?
And if they didn't listen to you, they use it. It will definitely fade. When that happens like that, we show them the drawing. This is the drawing. This panel is 175 that can cater for this. So those are the areas that we still need to look at.
You will have experienced
when you have a building collapse
during the design stage.
As I'm sitting there, if I start on my system, honestly speaking, you know, when we were in school, when we do manual design, you remember, sir?
Yes.
If you do manual design, they will say deflection is not okay.
Yes.
We don't have the understanding, but when we are now in the field, I have more understanding. Immediately, in fact, one day we at site, my boss was like, he was just calling at office, please help me run 8 meters with 200 depth. Run it with 150 depth.
Okay.
At the end of it, it was 200 mm that we were able to use. And we told them, you can't use 150 depth. But that's why they say, follow what the engineer says. In as much as they don't want to follow it, there will always be a case of building collapse.
Yeah.
That is it.
Yes.
That is just the addition to that aspect.
Yes, my guest for some minutes has been my first female guest on the podcast, the Bedrock with Michael Farinloye. It's no other person but engineer Fagbemi Boyejo Oluwaseun Deborah. We have been talking, discussing the issues of the necessity of structural design. We have talked about what structural design is all about and why we need structural design. Then what are the adverse effects is what we will be talking next. But we have to go on a very short break now. You can start sending in your comments, sending your contribution if you want to contribute. If you have anything you want to contribute. Or do you want to advise us? And the comment section is available. You can do that via the comment section. We go on a very short break now. And by the time we are back for the second segment, we will be looking at the adverse effects. Adverse effects. If structural design is not done the way it should be done. Don't touch that. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Bedrock is an online program with Michael Farinloye, your engineer on radio. And on this program, engineer Michael Farinloye, your engineer on radio, and other building professionals will come together to provide solutions to issues that are related to construction, engineering, real estate, security, and built environment in general, with the intention of some people live and work in a safe, conducive, and comfortable environment. Join us on Facebook Live every Friday by 4 p.m. on the Bedrock with Michael Farinloye Facebook page. For sponsorship and adverts or inquiries, please call 070 31 37 37 69. Once again, 070 31 37 37 69. The Bedrock on Facebook Live. Join us now and learn from building professionals. Tegri Associate Limited is a registered company with the capacity to give you the best of services. Tegri Associates Limited in a wide range of areas ranging from design, costing, construction, site supervision, development and delivery of homes and public infrastructures. Our team of construction professionals offers a single source solution for all construction related needs, be it restoration, site preparation, facility or infrastructure renovation and the likes. We are also into real estate. We have the experience and personnel to provide the highest quality construction on schedule and within budget. We support clients from project inception to the commissioning of the fully operational facility, transforming clients' dreams into reality, and offer deep professional advices in arriving at the best possible results. Client satisfaction is our ultimate goal, and we serve with integrity and focus. Tegri Associate Limited is registered with CAC Red number 6978970 and Office, 30 Olufemi Ajayi Street, College Bus Stop, Ifakuijaye, Lagos State. Osun State Office, House 31, Ifesowapo Quarters, Zone 6, Agric, Opa, Ilefe, Osun State. Telephone 091 66 19 31 14. Website www.agriassociateltd.com.ng.
Yes, we are back from the short break. We are still on the podcast, the Bedrock with Michael Farinloye, and I still have my guests with me. That's the person of engineer Fagbemi Boyejo Oluwaseun Deborah. Let me quickly read out who my engineer is. I'm reading it out, I'm not even saying it. It's a very powerful woman when it comes to built environment. Somebody I know very well. He's a civil structural engineer. He's a specialist. He's a specialist when it comes to structural design and supervision of building projects. She works with Davidad Engineering Nigeria Limited, and she is herself. She is a CEO, Sumi Tech Engineering Consult Limited, and currently she is the Financial Secretary of Nigeria Society of Engineers, NSC, Oshogbo branch. Oshogbo branch is located in Osun State, Osun State, Nigeria, for those of us who don't know. And she is also the member of Association of Professional Women Engineers, currently the internal auditor of Oshogbo chapter. Can you see that women even have their wing? For the laymen, professionals knows about this,
yes,
but for the laymen that don't know, let me use this medium and this platform to make it known to our people globally. I know it happens globally, but in Nigeria, we are not left out. So we have our women wing. So she is also the member, Nigeria Institution of Civil Engineers. So Engineer Fagbemi Boyejo Oluwaseun Deborah, you are welcome on the second segment of the Bedrock with Michael Farinloye.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, our viewer. You are welcome back.
So we start taking, okay, we go to the next questions now, and which is very, very important. We have talked, maybe I should quickly have a kind of recap. We have talked about what structural design is. It's just what the architectural has given to us, that this is how we want it to be. Then the structural is the one that will say, okay, this is how we can put it physically on ground. So then why do we need to do it? Talking about stability, talking about strength, talking about durability, and talking about safety. Engineer, I think I tried, Abby.
You try stability and the strength.
And the strength, yeah. So now we want to talk about the adverse effects. If structural design is not done properly, or it's not done at all, because at times we don't do it, some people don't do it at times. Then at times pressure from clients might make the professional to not do it properly. Is it possible? Let me to save money. Those ions, do something about it. Like I said, the client still did it for me recently. Still did it for me recently. So what are the adverse effects if we don't do it properly and we don't do it at all?
Thank you so much, sir. You know, we've been talking about structural design, and now we want to talk about the adverse effects. Like if you don't do structural design at all, or if you don't do it properly, according to BS code.
BS code.
According to the standard. That's what we are talking about.
The international standard.
National standard, according to how it's supposed to be. Now, I want to talk about two major effects. Okay. The first one is, let's talk about financial loss. When you don't do your structural design, you don't do it at all, or you don't do it properly, maybe you give it to layman, there will be a financial loss. it will increase your budget. Let's say you have 40 design. You have 40 design. They started your building, like the 21-story that collapsed at Lagos. You can see that it is a financial loss. There is no benefit from it at all.
At all.
So that's a powerful effect on the side of the client, even on the side of the engineers too. Because when there is problem, it has effect on every one of us. In fact, the very first person they will call upon is engineer, engineer, the building has collapsed again. So that's the first adverse effect, financial loss, and it's a very, very big problem. Then the other effect that we can talk about is project scheduling delay. Project delay. What do I mean by project delay? Let's say now I have to design a church building, and they gave us 6 months to deliver it. Building, we call it project. Yes. Because anything they call project, the meaning of project means it has a beginning and it has an ending. That's a time frame. Because when you are working in an organization, like you are working for school, 6 months, if you are not able to meet up with the target. So those are the two adverse effects now. Financial delay, or it increase your budget. That's the first one that I talk about. Then the project scheduling delay. You can't deliver as at when due. Because supposed to deliver within the next 6 months. And maybe you are the lintel level. Problem happened. It means you have to take another extra time, provided the client has money to start all over again. If they don't have money,
that's what I was about to say. Even if the client has money to start over again, something that collapsed, it cannot. All these agencies that are in charge of approval and all these things, they will have to come in. You start investigation starts going on here and there. What
investigation will start
and that. Even the client will be very careful to immediately commence the construction again. Okay.
Yes, because we have to follow normal protocol again. We have to check. In fact, the geotechnical engineers
have to call.
Part of it will still come in. They will have to check even the structure, the bearing capacity, what has happened before we now get back to the design office to go and do proper design. You can see that projects get delayed. So it's a big problem on our part. Then now we are talking about the adverse effect of structural design. Let's now digress a little. Let's say we even have a good structural drawing. We still have so many things that can still make this problem to occur again. Now, when there is no proper supervision, it is still part of the many adverse effects.
That's why that we have a good design, a good structural design.
Materials. Yes, you have your drawing. Let's not talk about substandard materials. Lack of supervision. They still go along in that aspect of adverse effects. Well, now I have my design. The person we handed over, because most time when we design, we are not the one to supervise. Most clients will just collect the drawing. They will still give it back to their Baba Tope, Baba Sakirat.
To do it.
They will still have the same problem. Now, when the problem now arose, they will call the engineers. When we get to site, won't happen like that. We immediately say, let's dig what is inside this beam. Let's check what is inside this. You discover that they just do it sake because they want to go to the agency just to stamp it. They will not follow what is in
the design.
So we need to still take a look. Exactly. Just because maybe their building is along the road, they just want to take the approval from the agency that we have approved it. Then they go back to their normal way of doing it. When we have substandard materials, it can still lead to major effects that will bring about collapse of building. So when we don't have the needed materials to do the work, it will lead to a problem. And then
the right material.
Yes, then lack of supervision. When you have it is another thing for you to have a good structural design. It's another thing for you to have a capable hand that will supervise it.
That will interpret that design.
The design to suit what it has been designed for. So that's the essence of structural design. You should be able to interpret what has been analyzed and designed. So those are part of the ADPA secret. Don't forget the two major points that we said it will lead to financial loss, because it will increase your budget and it will bring about project delay. And we know that project is what we said, it has a beginning and an ending. It has a time frame. That's why we call it project.
Yes.
But when it did not meet the required something, it leads to a great effect.
Yeah.
So I think that is what I can say about that for now.
Thank you very much. Because you have been able to explain as much as possible. Your explanation is very comprehensive, and I believe our viewers sincerely, if they are sincere, they should be able to pick tangible points from what we have discussed on this episode today. That's the necessity of structural design. I'm not only picking it, that's why I said sincerely, we need to follow it. Because the way we handle things in Africa here, I just pray God should help us. We need to we just need to do the right thing. We just need to do the right thing. We just need to do the right thing. Because if I
what you said now, I just want to add something. Even you know, when you do your structural design, do you know, if I have my own plot here and Mr. Tokwe is having his own beside me, do you know the type of foundation that will suit my own, might not suit
his own? Yes.
It is from this structural design that you'll be able to discover that this one we are using pad foundation for this one. This one we are using laft foundation. So what is applicable to A might not be applicable to B. So if you don't do your structural design, these people will just get to site, it is pad. They just started their work, which is not supposed. But if you have your structural design, you'll be able to know that this place I am to use pile foundation. This is I am to use combined footing. So it's always good. But when we don't have it, the adverse effect of it is it's more than what will cost us, is more than what is supposed to cost us.
There's no sorry there. You are giving us much information about there is one sentence I want to read out. But before I read it out, because I want you to make your comment on that statement. But before I read it out, from what you have just said now, our foundation is our structural design is a determinant of the type of foundation you are going to use. That's what you are saying. And
yes,
most of the issues we have most of the time always start from the foundation.
From the foundation.
Once the foundation is unable to carry the load again, it comes down.
It's like the word of God. If the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? When the foundation is faulty.
So why
though in engineering, when we compare with the word of in engineering, we say we can underpin. But for you to start underpinning, you know
how much it is going to cost? Yeah.
Before you underpin, even if you want to do retrofitting, before you retrofit, before you had additional reinforcement to your code.
Why don't you just do it the right way?
If you have problem from the substructure, your superstructure cannot stand.
There's nothing the superstructure is going to stand on.
The foundation is faulty.
If the foundation is not there, your substructure.
Now, if you want to underpin, look at the cost of underpinning.
That is going to cost at the end of the day. And even during your talking about those adverse effects, I want you to also add the loss of life. At times is always there too. Loss of life. Look at the 21-story building that came down in Lagos. You know how many lives was lost.
Even the developer, we couldn't locate the man. Not now.
Was among the dead.
In fact, that loss of life is even. Look at how many.
Wasted a lot of workers.
It is better we do it right.
Straight away.
And you know, I used to say, we cannot rise if we don't do it right. We cannot rise as a nation if we don't do it right. And my advice for my viewer this evening is that even if you don't have the money, if your money can only do the substructure, do the substructure, leave it. Know that when the money comes, You can not that I have 1 million naira. I have to finish this thing. I have to do the slab, which is the decking. I have to do that. I have to do that. No, do what is right, what is required. Follow your structural drawing.
Engineer, that's one option. You know another option that came to my mind now. You can also rescope. If you are going for, like, let's say for example, it's just an example anyway. You are going for a 3-bedroom, and you are looking at the cost of the 3-bedroom. You see that your budget cannot meet up with the cost of a 3-bedroom. Why can't you just go for a room and parlor self-contained?
And later on, you can develop
the remaining land. Thank you. Very,
Make
very
sure you have
simple.
something standard.
Instead of,
so that you won't be calling plumber every day. You won't be calling electrician. You will be calling for maintenance. Do the right thing at once.
At once, straight away. This statement.
It will save us a lot of. It will save us our life. It will save us our money. Save us a lot of things.
Because that money you don't want to spend, you are going to spend more than times 2 at the end of the day.
You not spend even more than times 3.
The fee you think is a waste if you give a professional to do the right thing.
If I should conclude tonight, give your job to the professionals. Give your drawing out. Let us design it for you. That is what we are doing. Just call us anytime. Before
you go to that advice, I want to read out this statement, and it will help you to just finalize with your advice. And we are through with the what they call it, the episode for today. Because I know I've taken much of your time. I'm sorry about that. And no thanks to the network too. So the statement goes thus: it is critical that you hire qualified professionals to complete your project. Hiring the right professionals can be costly, but it will save you money in the long run. I think from there you can start giving your advice. So we'll bring the episode to a close.
It can be costly, but it will save you a lot of things. You know, I've said it before. It is costly because if you hired me now to do design and to do the supervision, you know, when it comes to scale of fees, we usually calculate it. If your project is to cost you, let's say 1 billion naira, so there is a percent that is going to the structural, maybe and the consultant. But because you don't want to pay, is it not better to pay? It will cost you, but it will save you so many things. Now, if you don't want to spend the money, and the house now costs you your life, where are you now? Do you know that kind of person can even go to fire because it is the sin of disobedience that keeps you. When you know this is the right thing to do, you don't do it, and you met yourself inside the hollow. It's like you create a hollow for yourself, and you just enter it. So it is better. It might cost you, but when it comes to structural design, it is cost effective. They will help you to plan your cost. In such a way that you pay the engineers, you'll be able to do unnecessary things. But if you are doing babalagbaja, let's take a look at it. If I do design for you, we'll still do I can do the payment for you. I'll calculate the number of reinforcement that will finish your work from foundation.
Exactly.
See, when you get to your lintel level, any story that you are going. But if you don't have the structural design, you don't have all this bill of engineering measurement and evaluation. You don't have it. There's
no way you want to calculate it.
You just bring in cement. You might have brought like 100 bags. They will use 50 bags. They will cut away the remaining. That's why we say when you do structural design, it is cost effective. It will reduce your cost. I'll be able to tell you all the wire system that you are going to buy, 16 mm that you are going to buy is 100 pieces. All the 12 mm you are going to buy is 50 pieces. Once you have bought it, we'll be able to monitor it, the progress of your. But if you don't have the drawing, you don't have all those things, these people will still thief everything that you have. So why not you do the normal thing, do the structural,
the right things,
and follow the protocol. Even in this social, I can count 90% of the bungalow buildings, no design. Everybody was just doing their own. When rain is falling now, thank God we are now in rainy season. You will see a lot of houses, their roof has gone to
at the end of the day.
Even the septic tanks collapse, just septic tanks, because they don't know the way how. So it is better. I'm just talking to every one of us this evening. Let's give it out. Like, I'm not a lawyer. If I have a case, I should be able to go to lawyer. I shouldn't do it myself. Lawyers should be able to consult engineers. Doctors should be able to consult engineers. If you're having a headache or anything, if I want to give birth, maybe I will go to hospital.
You don't go to an engineer.
So why is it that when it now comes to engineer, everybody now comes to engineer? Pregnant women cannot come to me for delivery now.
Because you are not a midwifery, you are not a doctor.
But the midwives are now the one giving their job out. Electrician. They will not call the qualified engineers.
Qualified engineers for that.
I just, as a professional outside there in the built environment, I want us to reorientate our, even as a civil engineer, once you are not a structural engineer, if you have any design work, you should be able to consult the structural
person, a structural engineer to do it for you.
That is how we should do it.
You
if
are
architects could consult us, some architects too, they want to tell that we've been with two people since we can do. They don't know where we get 3Y16. They don't know where we get 6Y25.
But you are very right. At times they just use the experience of where they've done
3Y12 bottom,
similar
3Y12 top and bottom.
Leave it like that, it will work. And it's not like that.
But I think the agency body, the body that are regulating this thing, I think we should be able to talk to them. Some of them, they are hearing us. Yes, please, sure. In their own office, they need a structural person that will be in that office, so that when they bring any drawing, they'll be able to fit it. Because I've seen a situation where they will just change somebody's name just for the sake of approval. It's not the drawing for that same project. They will just change the heading. They will go and approve it. Nobody to check through. Because most of the time, they might be builders.
Have you seen a
current registered structural engineers should be working with the regulatory body, the approval body?
I think it's like that. And if it's not like that, they should do the necessary thing. That's the reason why we are doing this advocacy. Take for example, have you seen a story building of about maybe like 2 or 3 floors? By the time the structural engineering design, structural design is out, you will be seeing just like maybe 3 or 4 pages alone. Just 3 or 4 pages. about 3 stories though. It's as bad as that. We are not here to castigate anybody.
And I think, sir, in addition,
we need to do the right thing.
Council for Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria. Right? I think they need to do a lot of things. There are so many engineers there that we need to empower them. There is nowhere they are working that you don't supposed to have a regulatory person that will check what they are doing. Is it in conformity with the standard of current? Is this person they are calling engineer? Are they supposed to be at that site? Or no case should we have any building project without a current registered engineer supervising it? Because by doing that, we will save life. We need to save life. Because these people that they are working, part of them, they are our families.
Yes. And if you hear some of our clients or our people laymen outside there, it will look what we have been talking since now. We are discussing since now. It will look as if it's their pocket, it's because of their profession. It's because, and sincerely speaking, at the end of the day, we have work to do. And we will be able to live fine. But apart from even that, this my guest that is on the episode that we are discussing together is what to do. Even myself, I have what I'm doing, but all we are discussing is not just our pocket. Sincerely, our pocket is far from what we are discussing this very evening.
Yes, we just want
to do the right thing.
We want people
to save life, to be comfortable, to be conducive. Am I right, my guest?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I think
we are on the track, and I know God will help us.
Amen. Amen.
We need to do it right. Everything is not it's not government. Yes. We ourselves, we need to do it right.
Yes.
From our comfort zone. Yes. Where you are leading, let's do it right. Let's do it right, and God will definitely help us. Amen. When we help ourselves, we are definitely helping the government. So government also should be able to do their own part, but let's do our own part.
Government should do their own part. The professional bodies will do their own part. The client himself or herself should do his own part. Then even those that are giving us materials should also do their own part. Don't give us
Exactly.
substandard materials, cement and the
Yes.
like. Give us
Because not everybody can go to geotechnics lab to go and do tests.
to go and do tests. You understand?
The materials, and not
Reinforcement
everybody
test
can
with
go
steel
to
and
quarry.
everything.
Not everybody can go there and pick sample to
Yeah.
do tests. So we need to help ourselves.
That is just it. We just have
God
to
will
help
help us in
ourselves.
Jesus' name.
Amen. In short, if we should continue, we can still go on and on and on. But I think we have been able to make tangible points out of the discussion for this very evening, talking about the necessity of structural design. And my guest for some more than an hour now has been Engineer Fagbemi Boyejo Oluwaseun Deborah. He's a civil structural engineer. He's a foreign registered. He's part of NSC Oshogbo, that's Nigerian Society of Engineers. He's also part of Professional Women Engineers. And he's the internal auditor Oshogbo chapter, that's Professional Women Engineers. He's also a member of Nigerian Institution of Civil Engineers, NIC. Engineer Fagbemi Boyejo Oluwaseun Deborah. Thank you for taking out of your busy schedule, because I know you are so much busy. You took it out, you gave it to the Bedrock with Michael Farinloye. I pray that Almighty God will replenish you and reward you in a bountiful way in the mighty name of Jesus. So my regards to your family, my regards to everyone around you. We have done our part.
Thank you so much, sir.
We have done our part. I mean, I believe if we can be doing it gradually like this, it will go a long way in solving so many of our problems, especially the avoidable building collapse. I will call it avoidable, because if you do the right thing, you'll be able to avoid it. So I pray that God will help us. So our viewers, thank you for being there.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for having us tonight.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. God bless you.
So
we meet again in Jesus.
Amen. So very soon we will still call on you again. I believe when we call on you, we will always be there to answer to our call.
By God's grace.
Because I know you are a down-to-earth person. Very humble. Thank you for thank you.
Special thanks to Engineer Farinloye, engineer of the radio. I really appreciate you. Thank you for this opportunity. The Lord will honor you in Jesus.
Amen.
More grace to podcast.
Amen. So our viewers, is that this junction will be calling it a day on today's episode. You can send in your comments, your contribution, and if you have any question you want to ask, you are free to send in via the comment section. And please follow our Facebook page, The Bedrock with Michael Farinloye. Then you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Bedrock with Michael Farinloye. This episode is not for you to only listen and watch it and keep it. Share it. Let others also be a partaker of what you have been blessed. Till we meet next Friday, 4 p.m. West African time, I remain my humble self, Michael Farinloye, also known as your engineer on radio. Bye for now.
Bedrock is an online program with Michael Farinloye, your engineer on radio. And on this program, Engineer Michael Farinloye, your engineer on radio, and other building professionals will come together to provide solutions to issues that are related to construction, engineering, real estate, security, and built environment in general, with the intention of some people live and work in a safe, conducive, and comfortable environment. Join us on Facebook Live every Friday by 4 p.m. on the Bedrock with Michael Farinloye Facebook page. For sponsorship and adverts or inquiries, please call 070-31-37-37-69. Once again, 070-31-37-37-69. The Bedrock on Facebook Live. Join us now and learn from building professionals.